Exercises. Number 1. One of the biggest misconceptions about creativity is that it takes a brilliant idea to solve a complex problem. While this may be true in pure sciences, in most commercial contexts or even in day-to-day living, it is never that one silver bullet that does the magic. It is, in fact, a series of seemingly simple ideas that counts. The key is to have enough ideas that solve specific parts of the overall problem. And then the thorny task looks very much tenable. Since creativity comes from combining concepts in an unusual fashion, and since it is exceedingly difficult to trace the origins of ideas, you are better off generating as many ideas as possible with the hope that some of them would click. That is what great scientists and artists do. As the author Walter Isaacson notes, the sparks come from ideas rubbing against each other rather than as bolts out of the blue. Number 2. Sometimes it is hard to know the right thing to do for the planet. What sounds good may not necessarily be so. Rooftop solar panels, for example, are one of the most expensive and least effective ways to help the environment. Buying local food can actually increase water pollution and waste. According to research from the Danish and UK governments, plastic grocery bags may actually be better than cotton bags for the climate and for water. You may disagree with all or some of those claims, and you may be right. It depends on your individual circumstances. If you live in Phoenix, Arizona, for example, solar panels could be a smart choice. Using your own cotton bags continuously and without exception for shopping for several years is probably better for the environment than the alternatives. Each of these choices depends on personal circumstances and behavior. The best solutions for the environment are personal. Number 3. Consider people with disabilities. Often they are judged using criteria of competence that are biased in favor of non-disabled people. Compare, for example, an average blind person with an average sighted person. Who will be more competent in walking from one place to another? You might think that the sighted person will be more competent because the sighted person can see where he or she is going. But this is using an unfair criterion. If you think about competence based on the fairer criterion of who can best walk with the eyes closed, then the blind person will definitely be more competent. Such knowledge about people who are blind and, by extension, other socially marginalized people can make us appreciate them and celebrate their unique abilities as they really are, rather than discriminate against, pity, or patronize them for some incompetence that does not exist, except as a figment of our traditional, prejudiced imaginations. Number 4. When you think, you are using your imagination to create an image or picture in your mind of an event rather than the real thing. If you are driving home from a football match, reviewing the game in your mind, you are merely imagining what the game was like. The game is no longer real. It's now only in your mind, in your memory. It was real once, but not any longer. Similarly, if you're thinking about how bad your marriage is, you are considering it in your mind. It's all in your imagination. You are literally making up your relationship. The thoughts you are having about your relationship are just thoughts. This is why the old saying, "Things aren't as bad as they seem," is almost always true. The reason things seem so bad is because your mind is able to recreate past events and preview upcoming events almost as though they were happening right in front of you at that moment, even though they're not. To make matters worse, your mind can add additional drama to any event, thereby making that event seem even worse than it really is, or was, or will be.